what questions you have surrounding events. So, but yeah, so I'll get started. So, I have spent a lot of my time building a referral-based business with past clients. And a lot of that I can contribute to staying in front of my clients and being top of mind with consistent client events. Now, people will say, well, nobody's showing up. It is all in your follow-up. It literally does not matter if you have 0 people show up to your event. If you did all of the marketing beforehand, you do all of the marketing after, it doesn't matter if they actually attend the event.
It gives you a reason to contact them, and it gives you
Yes,
like, instead of just, do you have anybody that you can refer to me?
right. Like, I mean, and if you're not providing value, you should never ask for a referral. Like I truly believe that. So if events is one way that we add to our clients' lives. Um, so how many of you actually reach out to your past clients consistently?
I do.
Not me. No.
And what would you classify as consistently, Bobbie?
I mean, your client should be like, if you don't set up a 36 touch marketing plan, I don't think you're that consistent. How many times have you heard a friend buy another house from somebody else and be like, oh my gosh, I forgot you were in real estate? Like, that'll happen. And so you have to be in front of them consistently so they remember what you do. So now I've been able to brand myself as an agent. So there is no question of what I do for a living. Everyone knows because I'm staying in front of them, not only just on social media, but with consistent follow up. So I think that it's important that you reach out to your database 4 times a year, like and I mean calling them, like calling them, picking up the phone and calling them. I think that that is
showing you how you
um
something like
that's what I do. But then it's all of the other, I mean, when I look at how many times do I touch a client in a year, it's way more than 36 times. Way more.
So when you're talking about touching a client, like, what type of touches are you doing?
So for me, I do obviously the events. So we have a complete marketing plan around every single event. So let's touch on like my girls' nights, for instance. So I not only have a group, but I have in Lofty, I have an additional tag that I have tagged everybody who's getting invited to girls' night. We are texting them multiple times. I would say typically on average 2 to 3 is how many times we're texting them through Lofty. They're also getting sometimes an email, and then I will reach out to people as well when I'm making my calls to my past clients. Hey, just so you know, our next girls' night is December 10th. We're doing a wrapping party. We're dressing up in our Christmas pajamas. We're going to have dinner and cocktails. Come and hang out with us if you have that date available. So we have a complete marketing plan around that one event that we do every single month. Now, additional things that I do mailers consistently. So I do what we call in my coaching program is letter of the heart. So I will do about 6 letter of the hearts a year. And then we do mailers such as football calendars, school calendars, my vendor magnet. I will go into past clients' homes and they have like 3 years worth of magnets on their fridge. So for me, I'm also integrating the mailers in, so I'm staying in front of them. And so like I mean like this week I got a call from a past client. He is one I can never remember calling him. So that's something that we're going to get really specific on is I have a top 400 list of past clients, family and friends. My executive assistant is now going to give me a list every single day of the 15 people that I need to call from that 400 list. So Nick doesn't not get a call from me. Now, he did get the mailers because he's on the mailing list, but it's strategic because it's very easy for me to call the people who are easy to call from my past clients, but I need to make sure I'm calling all of those 400. And so my assistant is now going to lay a list of names on my desk on Thursdays, and those are the people I call, or only the people on that list.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I lose you?
Nope, I'm here.
Okay.
So, going into I'm going to just run through the events that we do a year, and then we can kind of go from there. So, client events that we have, so we have the 12 girls' nights that we talked about. Those are very low cost events. There's not a lot of money tied up into those girls' nights. Then I have my gala. My gala is by far the most expensive event that we put on, and it usually runs me $12,000 a year to put on because we are doing entertainment, we're renting a venue, we have food, we have a full bar. Like it's something that we do that we are also inviting our clients, but then we also invite our vendor partners. So that's something that we're doing for our VIPs. I do a egg your yard event for Easter. We do a pool party. We do Santa photos. So those are the client specific events. Then I also do a Mother's Day fair. I do a trunk or treat, and then I do two VIP happy hours for all of my vendor and referral partners.
So on the girls' night, what type of events are you having? How are you picking what you're doing?
So for me, it's all about going in deeper relationship with the business owner. So like we just did one at Greater Grounds. I'm building a relationship with the owner there. I actually met him at BNI. He was a guest in our BNI. So I had an initial conversation with him. I knew that it was opening before. So I was able to kind of build that relationship there. And then when they opened, I just started pouring into their business. I frequent there, I do most of my coffee meetings there. And then I just asked him, hey, would you like us to host a girls' night here? That is so much value to them because I'm bringing in my group of people and we are both collaborating and sharing our network of people. So he had a group of like 8 women that came that I've never met any of them. So what do? I network with them, I talk to them, I build a relationship with them, I add them on Facebook. Now they're in part of the girls' night group, and now they're on the text messages threads. Like now I'm able to grow deeper in relationship with them, but then also building the relationship with the business owner. So for me, the girls' nights we are very strategic in where we do them. Like I do them at places where I have a good relationship with the business owner. And so for me, that's building my VIP list where my goal is to get referrals from these business owners. Now, I'm not asking them for business. Like I have not earned the right to ask Byron for a referral. But if I grow over time and help pour into his business, then after I've provided enough value to him, then I can in return say, hey, do you have an agent that you refer all your business to or your referrals to? No? Okay, I would love to see if I can earn that business. Simple. So for me, the spot is very strategic.
So on something like that, what does that, I mean, obviously, he's perfectly fine not charging you anything to use his venue, for sure. So what would an event like that look like? What's it cost if somebody wanted to do that? Did he split any of the tab with you? I mean, how did that all look?
So for that one specifically, most girls' nights we really don't pay anything. So the value is we're bringing our people in. We ask them to either do food or drink or both. And a lot of businesses will just do both because we're marketing the event, we're bringing in our people, and then usually we will do a giveaway. So it's costing me the giveaway, and we've found we have better attendance when we do an activity. So it's getting a little bit more expensive. Like that one we had 50 people show up to. So now we know, okay, like our wrapping party, my staff and our vendor partners that are doing the event with me, we're going to be wrapping gifts for the guest, but I have to have something for them to do. Otherwise, it's kind of awkward because you don't know these people. So we are doing a bingo night. So they're going to be playing bingo while all of the staff is wrapping the presents. So that is something that we have had to implement, is doing a little bit more of the like activities. And so there is a little bit of cost associated with that. But I will tell you, out of all of our girls' nights, we have not paid to use their space. Like
Do you buy the coffee or anything like that, or is that
I
something that like
so this one I did. So our tab was $350 and the lender and
50
I split it
people?
for 50 people.
That's pretty cheap.
Yep. Yep. So my budget for girls' night, I try to budget for $200. So $200 a month goes towards girls' night. Because it has to be a low cost event because I'm doing so many other events throughout the year.
So what event do you do that you feel like you get the most bang for your buck, or that the most people attend?
I would say our gala is our most attended, but it's also the most expensive. I honestly, like, there's not many agents that could put on a gala. Like that is it is a huge task to take on. Like you're literally putting on a wedding reception. Like it is a ton of work. Um, so and you have to kind of start small. So like for me, it's like I expected, you know, 75 people my first year. My second year, it went up from there. So my gala is my most attended, but it's also the most expensive. Now we do raise like our vendor partners pay to be a part of that event, because that sets them on our magnet for 2025. So like for instance, like my roofer, he contributes every single year to be my preferred roofer, and that money goes towards putting that event on. Now, but anything that I don't get from vendors, I'm paying out of pocket, and it can be $7,000 that you're coming up with outside of being able to build those. And especially if you don't have really tight vendor relationships already, you're going to have more expense there. The best bang for the buck is definitely girls' night, for sure.
So how far into the business were you before you started client appreciation event?
I started it right away.
Okay.
Like and one thing I don't think they're events, but one thing I feel like every business owner should do is giveaways, like to drive traffic to your page. Because honestly, like unless people are in the market for homes, like they don't care. Like they don't care about what listing you just posted unless they're actively buying a house. Like that's not great content to constantly be posting. So for us, giveaways are one way that we get a lot of engagement. So it's not an event, but it's definitely a touch that we do that everybody could implement tomorrow, of doing a monthly giveaway on their social media profiles.
I've done several of those where people are willing to even gift you something from their business if you'll promote it and tag them to your people and
So
blah blah.
go look at my 12 days of Christmas. So we just posted about our 12 days of Christmas. I literally will not have to reach out to vendors and ask. We have enough people that have raised their hand that said, "Hey, like we would like to partner with you on this." But I think it's also my I've built the social media profile. So it's like they're getting benefit by being
Yes.
seen on my page. So I think that takes time. But even if it's, I mean, honestly, like I do $10 Starbucks giveaways that freaking blow up. I'm like, these people will do anything for $10 Starbucks gift cards. Like it's crazy. And I'm like, and I've given away a cruise. Like like you do anything to just gain traffic. And now I'm getting consistent referral business from social media because, and honestly, I think a lot of it was the giveaways consistently and the partnerships because you're able to build your platforms together.
Yeah.
I know your business, we've had this conversation. Your business this year is looking a lot different. Like we've had conversation of, I think it was this year, maybe it was last year where you really started seeing the shift, but you went from a very buyer-based business to a lot bigger listing agent business.
Yep.
And this, for those of you guys that are watching this or that'll watch this in the future, I mean, I think this is one of the biggest things that's driving that. It's just staying top of mind. And you've been doing it long enough and people see your marketing capabilities that it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I think that it's really, really hard to be laser consistent, but it's the compounding effect. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. That's why we do business planning in October so we can plan for the year. And it's like my team, I have multiple people who are in charge of, hey, this is a marketing calendar for January. Are we prepared? Do we have everything ordered? Do we have everything sent out? We have deadlines for everything. Where if we don't get something done, like I have not done well with my how to buy a house class. Like next year, like every class that I say that I'm doing, it's on the calendar and it will happen because the things you don't make a priority will get bumped and then you're not consistent. And then it's like, well, I probably could have added 5 more transactions if I would have held those classes that I said I was going to do rather than pushing them off like they weren't important.
Right. How many of you guys that are tuning in tonight have already started working on your marketing plan and your business plan for next year? Anybody? Because I think that that's huge. I mean, I know that I start mine usually August. This year I'm a little behind, but I think that that's super important. I mean, we had all of our client events and everything scheduled, I mean, almost August, September that year before the following year. Austin raised his hand. I know Austin because he's been at my house doing it. Good job, Austin. Attaboy.
I've already
There's
started. I've got
Yeah.
another agent from another company. We were together with the previous company and we're going to get together on doing business planning, even though we're not with the same group. She does insurance, so this kind of helps her out to me putting fire under her to do her part. So that way she helps me and I help her get motivated.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I think that that's great. And I think that that's super important too. You don't have to be at the same company. You don't have to be in the same industry if you can find somebody to lock arms with. I mean, even Bobbie and I weren't at the same company and we were sitting and masterminding together monthly before we even joined Real in December last year. So if you find somebody that fits your energy, Bobbie said the F word enough times the first time I hung out with her that I knew.
Yeah.
I knew we would
You're like,
instantly
wait,
get along.
you're not as buttoned up as you appear online.
Oh, same goes.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a family show on Facebook. It's a shit
Yep.
show in person.
Yep. If people only knew. They're like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't. Like, I don't do it all.
With no makeup and no bra and
Literally. Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's funny. People are like, I think they don't sometimes recognize me. I'm like, you do realize that photo is like full glam. Like, I just stayed up all night with all 3 of my children. Like, no, I don't look like that every day.
Yeah. Yep. So on a year, I'm trying to think of some other questions for you. I mean, some of these I know because we've had conversations about. Tell everybody about your trunk or treat. I heard like amazing things because I just talked to Chris and I just talked to somebody else that wished they would have participated when they were asked and
Yep.
they didn't.
They did it.
So give them a little bit about Trunk or Treat, what you just did, how you got people there, how they became engaged, what your turnout was, that type of thing, and what it cost you.
So Trunk or Treat this year cost me about $2,000. Next year it will cost me nothing. I will get vendors that will pay for candy. I just totally underestimated how many people I would have show up. We had at least 2,000 people from our community show up at our Trunk or Treat. And I mean, it was an amazing turnout. I handed out my magnets. We got how many
Like
surveys?
160?
160 surveys. So we put like these little QR codes in their bags, and 160 people filled out it's in my stand store. So I sell digital products. It was in there and they gave us their information, and we literally didn't ask them. It was just put in the bags. 160 new contacts that automatically fill into my CRM. I mean, it was an incredible event. So next year I will buy $2,000 worth of candy. That will all be donated by business professionals. We're not making money at the event. So it did cost me, I think, $300 to rent the park. And we just did it in the parking lot. Next year we have a bigger space, so I need more trunks. But people didn't know what to expect. This year I can say, hey, this is a huge turnout. And I mean, it was insane.
So now those 160 people that you got their information, now they
Yep.
go into your database and then you do the touch
Yep.
points with them throughout the year. They're invited to
Correct.
the other events.
So they would only be invited to other community events. And girls' night, they could be invited to that, but I would not invite them to my gala. They wouldn't be a part of Egg Your Yard. They wouldn't be invited to my pool party. Our pool party had 500 people this year. So 500 people at our pool party. I mean, it's insane. Like and once you start doing it, it does take time for it to compound, for people to start coming. But you just do it on a smaller scale, and then you just start every year. They just get a little bit bigger. And most people that host an event, they don't do enough reaches. They don't call their people enough. They don't reach out enough. We did one event where we did a mailer only, complete flop. The event was amazing, but it was a flop. And I'm like, well, this proves to me you can't do one avenue of marketing. You have to do all of them. You have to do social, have to do mailed, you have to do the calls, the texts, the emails, all of it's needed.
So Lynn has a question. She says, what are some things you are doing for community events?
So it's the Mother's Day event. So my Mother's Day event, we do it at the boathouse. All spa stations they donate their services. So I have a lot of people that I know that own spas, they own hair salons, they're in the beauty industry. So they donate their services, and then we raise money for a local charity. So it's one of the charity events that we do, but it is so on brand to me that it's like, it makes sense. Like, and we do, like last year we did donations to Harbor House. So I make sure that it fits with my brand and who I am, and most people who reach out to me are women. Like that's my ideal client. They're usually in their 30s to 40s. Women, like that's who starts the conversation with me 90% of the time. So a lot of my events are geared towards who is my ideal client.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't see Austin having a Mother's Day spa day, like
Right.
that. Or
I mean,
Carouge. Sorry,
right.
Carouge.
And now I will say one event that we are going to add, also, hence why I'm looking to buy a new house. My coach said I need to be really getting a lot of my VIPs into my house, because that's where the relationship is formed. So
100%.
we're gonna implement a poker night. I don't play poker. I don't care. but my husband does. And that can be another touch point where, okay, the wives can come to girls' night, but then we have something for the guys that it's a little bit more intimate. It's a smaller group setting. You don't want to get more than 8 people. Where that would be another event that we're going to do. And then you start also hosting people. Like that's part of it, is going in deeper relationship. With me, it's harder because I have 3 little kids. Like it's hard to host because like we're putting him into bed. Like unless I'm getting a sitter and leaving at 8 o'clock at night, or having people over coming over at 8, like it's just a little bit harder. But I'm like, we could do it consistently, every other month, hosting people, and then the kids just go with a babysitter or, their grandparents or something.
Mhm. I know that's been big for us. I mean, being more thoughtful on who it is that we're wanting to connect with and build better relationships, build deeper relationships with, that
Yep.
we think would be a good source of business, that we think would be a good friendship. I mean, yes, it is business driven initially, but I have to like them as well.
Yeah.
Need to
I'm not
happen.
going to invite you to my house unless I like you. Like
Right.
if I don't want to. And the thing is people ask me all the time, like, Bobbie, how did you get connected with Chris? Like Chris and I do so much business together, and it's like, honestly, it wasn't until I got to know him as a person, and I'm like, he is a great dude. Like he is just as much part of our family. Like he is our guy. Like we care about him, we care about his family, and that is reciprocated. Where to me, that's what it's about. It's like I want to work with people who are good people and that care about me and don't care about just what I can give them.
Right.
And that's how you build really, really good referral relationships.
Agreed. That is one thing that I had a conversation with my coach Tuesday when I had my Tom Ferry coaching. And I'm like, this is kind of silly that we're spending this much money on Zillow. So I don't know if you guys do this. If you don't, I would highly recommend it. Look at where your business came from this year. Look at every single deal you did and you go, okay, this came from this came from this came from this. Hey guys, 90% of my business is repeat and referral business.
Yep.
So it's like, why are
Cut
Chris
it.
and I splitting this much money on Zillow? Now, I will say it is some of my more expensive sales because that's what I'm advertising in. But I still feel that's what my conversation is, and it's to be continued to next Tuesday. But I still feel like there could be something extra that I'm doing with that same amount of money, that I'm building a warm market instead of having people that are cold calling me off of Zillow, and you have to sell yourself to them. You have to, you have to really be on top of your game with a cold lead. Where when somebody that you've already done a deal with, they send somebody to you, the odds are so much higher. I think it's like 1 in 100 on a Zillow lead. And I think it's like 1 in 10 if you get a referral. It's 1 in 3 if you've already done business with them.
Zillow converts at about 4%. National average. Now, I'm higher than that.
And I am too.
Like way higher than that. But if you're not a good, if you're not a solid converter, like you're going to be on the lower end. And so I think that you spend the money, like I think leads are an easy way. Like I do Zillow, but I'm like, I will cut Zillow probably pretty soon, because when I look at my business, I'm the same way. I'm like, I'm doing all of the stuff that I'm like, I could literally pick up my phone right now and dial and get a referral within an hour. Like 100% hands down, I could guarantee it. Honestly, I could probably post on Facebook right now and say, hey, I need a referral today. And I would get a message with a referral. Now, I don't do that all the time because then it gets annoying and people will just start ignoring you. But if you do other things that make people engage, when you need something from them, they will give you what you need, because it's just like no different than polls and asking their opinion. Like, do I really care on some of the stuff? Like, not 100% on some things, or do I really care what their opinion is? I've already decided what I'm doing.
Right.
But it gets the engagement. It's all about engagement. And then when you
Well,
need the business, you can ask for it and you get it.
well, that's why they call it social media.
Yeah.
I mean, they want you to be social, they want you to be responding and engaging and
Yep.
that sort of thing. And so once they see that people are engaging with you, then it continues to promote whatever it is that you're posting into their feed. So you have to understand the algorithm. And that's just something great, Bobbie. I mean, you just constantly have stuff to post about when you're doing this many activities and you have that much other stuff going on. It makes social media really, really easy.
Yep.
You don't
We
have to
do
go, what are we going
60
to post
videos a
about?
week on average.
Yeah, you've really picked that up.
Yep. We're about 60 videos a week. 30 of those are stories. And then the rest of them are like reels, TikTok. Like, I mean, they're everywhere. So it's being really consistent in that, but then also a variety of content of like people care more about you as a person, and not like, I think people do find the real estate stuff interesting because we do have an interesting career. Um, but
Is that
like
what
my
we call
most
it?
engaged
Interesting.
post is coffee. Like people like me talking, like my addiction to Starbucks and the amount of money I spend on Starbucks. People are like, you are insane. I'm like, yeah, I am. My husband tells me the same thing. But people like that.
So on one of these events, what are some reels? What are some stories like that you would be putting out to create interest in your events? Give some examples of what they look like,
So
what they're
like for
talking about.
so for instance, like we are getting ready to advertise our 12 days of Christmas. We're going to lead up to the 12 days of Christmas. So we're going to be posting like, so Kaylee does all of my social media. So she comes up with these ideas for me of what we're going to say, what the video is going to look like. I'm not doing all of that alone. But it's like we're going to make it fun. So like we got Christmas jammies. Like there's planning that goes into making the content interesting, especially when it comes to video. Cuz she can make graphics look really pretty and engaging, but like the video is where you get the most engagement. And so like that, we're going to do a promo video. We have graphics already set up. We will advertise them in our stories. So it's just, is that helpful?
Is that helpful for you guys? I mean, I think, yeah, I've seen you guys like giving some sneak peeks, like
Yes.
the activities that you're doing to plan. I mean, those types of things is what I want them churning on, I guess, if you will, like what they're thinking about, just different ways that you have content to surround the event.
I mean, there's so much. Like then when you're, at our gala, like we'll do the setup, and then for girls night, Kaylee will do like like a reel about the night, like highlighting the night. But then we also at the event, we're posting during the event, like highlighting it, taking pictures. So people who didn't attend also get a feel for what the event was like. And once you start to do it, it's literally second nature. Like for me, like my family knows, like we don't pick up the phone, we don't start eating our meal until Bobbie has taken a video or a photo. Like they know, like my husband knows we're going to take a photo with our drinks every time we go out. Like he expects that. So then it just becomes second nature, where it's like part of my job is content creating. It's people seeing the behind the scenes of our lives. I'm posting, when my son is not going to sleep, I'm like, what the, go to sleep. And I'm like, I'm posting all of it. Like this is the life that I live. But it's also being like, for me, it's staying positive. Like, yes, it's wildly freaking annoying when my child won't go to bed, but like, it's still, he was like playing with pillows, and I'm like, how much longer, how many more pillows does he need to get comfortable as he's like jacking around? Like, it's fun stuff like that of just like letting people into your life. Um, but like with the events, it's easy because you just document it as you go.
Well, that's what you're doing with your life too.
Literally. It's like you document it all. Well, and it's funny because people know that I've been traveling a ton. They're like, "Have you been home?" I'm like, no, I have not. I've not been home. And so I think that it's they get to know you on such a deeper level. So then when I am calling them, I always look them up. Like I always look on Facebook and see, can I figure out what they've been up to? I make notes of all my calls. Like if I call a past client and let's just say their grandma just died, like you need to be sensitive of that. What do you do when that happens? You send a card, you send something. Like it's just being very, very, very intentional.
Cynthia says, and you're being genuine, so people kind of know you a little.
Yes,
They know you a lot. I
exactly.
mean, as much as you want them to know.
And I will tell you, like people know a lot about me and I'm comfortable with that. Where I think there would be a lot of people that would be like, they're not gonna share near as much as I do. My kids get paid for their content that I post of them. So they will thank me later. But, like for me, I do share a lot about my life. But honestly, you would not believe how many times people are like, I'll see them in passing and they're like, I feel like this is weird, but I feel like I know you. But it's because they do know me.
Yeah, I have a deal right now that a lady follows me on social media, courtesy of Reels, and I have her daughter under contract. And she reached out to me and said, "Hey, I think my daughter is going to be buying a house this year." And so Chris is doing the loan. But it was so funny. Like, I was somewhat in Portugal when she wanted to look at this house. So I didn't even get to meet her first. So I sent Kelly to show her the house. And then I met them at the inspection. And the
Yeah.
mom just walked straight up to me and hugged me. And she's like, "I feel like I know you." And blah, blah, blah. "I'm so sorry to hear about David's foot." And I'm like, it's so weird the stuff that
It's
they
so
know, they
weird.
see.
Yep.
And generally, like you, I post a lot of positive stuff and motivational things. And I've had a couple of things lately where it's just like, things are sucking right now.
Yep.
And it's funny, I post one thing and I didn't even really think it was negative. It was just like things are tough and I'm putting my head down and I'm just doing the deal. And I had several people that I don't consider myself tight with at all that would text me, "Are you okay?" Well, yeah, I mean, I'm dealing with what I have. I'm dealing with the shit sandwich I was served. But
Right.
it
Yeah.
was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine overall. But it's weird that they just
Yep.
saw that on my social and they
Yeah.
instantly are concerned because I'm usually not that way. And so
Yep.
it's funny to see who's watching stuff because
Oh,
you never know. So I
yeah.
say more people are watching than not.
Oh,
So
for
give them
sure.
something good to watch.
Yep.
But no, you've done a killer bang up job of all of these events. I mean, I'm super blown away by all the stuff that you accomplish with the kids and social media and I mean just everything, just a killer business.
Well,
So
thank you.
yeah. What questions does everybody else have for Bobbie? I've kind of ran this thing. I know it's my Thursday night thing, but I figured you guys would have tons of questions. Because anytime I get to pick Bobbie's brain, I do. Nobody. Cynthia, you're being way more quiet than normal. Anybody? Well, Bobbie, I guess you just did such an awesome job explaining it that they got it all. I took a couple pages worth of random notes
Okay.
myself. So, all right. Well, we'll wrap it up because I know you're ready to go home for the day because I watched your stuff earlier and you dropped your, oh, there's Crystal commenting, but I saw you dropped your kid off at, and you were at the office before 8 o'clock this morning.
Yep.
Do you do the same videos on each social media event? Or on, I'm assuming you're meaning like each client event.
No. I mean, we always do. No, they're all different.
But similarities, I mean, when you
Yeah,
say,
similar type. Like, I mean, yes, we're gonna do a reel. But like the idea of the video is gonna be different. The only thing that's always like laser consistent for us is like our listing videos.
so I misunderstood what she was
Oh,
asking. So when
okay.
you're making those reels or you're making quick stories or whatever, are you posting the same thing on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like all the platforms? Do they all get the same video?
It depends. Sometimes we will do the same video. But so Kaylee said she always does Facebook and Instagram the same, then TikTok is usually different. But we're not as heavy on TikTok.
Why do you do the video different on TikTok, Kaylee?
It likes different kinds of videos.
So
Really fucking long.
for us to get TikTok engagement, the videos have to be different. So we don't get any, like, it wouldn't be real value to post it there. So, and I don't want to fill my feed with the same content. So I want people to follow multiple platforms. So I don't want to be posting the same thing across each platform. Now, for an event, you could for me, I don't post still graphics on my Instagram that I do on Facebook announcing the event. So that's something that's very different. Like we do stories of that, and then we do a video on Instagram, but we're not posting those still graphics.
Michelle,
Interesting.
you got a question?
No, I'm just kind of overwhelmed by all she does.
Taking it, me too.
Wow.
I'm tired thinking about it.
I'm exhausted. Like, where's the wine?
Mine's tequila, but
Okay, well,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. Mhm. Yep.
That and the F word, that's what we bond over.
mhm.
Wow. Holy God. When you do the trunk or treat, have you ever thought about, and I'm just throwing this out because I don't know, doing like a church parking lot?
No, so I am really involved in my church, but for me, I'm like, I want it to be on a neutral ground. Where for me, I'm like, I think I want to reach anyone. And so some people would just not go to a church. So that's why we did a central park.
Okay,
That way it was like, like anybody goes to the park.
right.
So, because you could easily like do a church parking lot. A lot of churches do trunk or treats themselves. But that's honestly why I didn't. Because I think that there's a lot of value in doing it in a neutral place.
Gotcha.
Lynn is asking what would be a good first event to put on?
So I think
First.
the Egg Your Yard event is very, very low cost. And it's something that you're doing for a specific client. So if you are maybe worried about who will I invite, who will show up, the Egg Your Yard event, what I do is I post who wants me to egg your yard. I have 30 spots because I can't have 90 people sign up because I have to do it the night before Easter.
What does egg your yard mean? Because that meant something entirely different in high school.
Yeah. So you get Easter eggs. So you get Easter eggs, you fill them with candy or money or whatever. And you go and you put the eggs all in the front yard. So I did the front yard, and then I get corrugated signs that say Egg Your Yard and then my logo.
How
Cool.
many eggs do you normally do in a yard?
So I did 2 dozen this year. I'm gonna do 5 dozen minimum next year because it looked too bare. So
Per
then
yard?
next year per yard.
Well, okay. Right.
And it would depend on the kid too. Like if they have
Right.
7 kids, I would at least do a dozen a kid,
Wow.
at least.
Yeah.
But I would say like 2 dozen was not enough. So next year we're doing 5 dozen per house. And I just bag them. Like we stuff the eggs, we bag them in bags, and then I know, okay, this is house 1, this is house 2, and so on.
Just wait till your kid's old enough to do that stuff and you
I
can
know.
get them involved. Right, Austin?
Yeah, exactly. Too bad they're 4, 3, and 2. Come on.
Hey, they can stamp an envelope. They're not helpless.
No, no, my boys, they want to help with everything. And I'm like, can we not? Like, I'll just do this myself.
Yep.
Yep.
Yard.
But I think that that's a great one because then you can connect with very specific people. If you only have a budget for 5 yards, then you do 5 yards. Like it's like it's very cost effective and people really appreciate it. And then those signs can be used year after years. And it is a surprise to the kids, but the parents sign up for it. So I do it after dark. So once it's dark, then it's a surprise for the kids. And I'll tell you, being a mom, I've learned my most successful events are around kids.
David and I've had fun decorating people's house and the kids didn't know it and we just
Yeah.
randomly showed up and surprised them. It was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
something that I guess I would share that we've done in the past for our giveaways on social media or for us decorating front porches or whatever, all of the craziness that we've done. Who thought we would have to do this stuff selling real estate? But you know, if you're going to do 10 yards and you have people write in and you say that you're having a drawing, the ones that I would pick are the ones that if I had a conversation 4 months ago and they've been kind of kicking around, you know, buying a house or selling a house, or they've messaged me that they're potentially going through a divorce or something like that that might prompt a sale, those would be high priorities of mine to engage with.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
out and egg their yard or whatever it is that you're going to do, because those are going to be your warm markets.
Yep. Another one, Lynn, that I did that was fairly inexpensive is when I first started, I rented out a community pool. So now I do Rock River Rapids, but when I first started, I would just do a small, like we did Harvest Pool, and it wasn't that expensive. I think we did do food, but you wouldn't have to. Where that was an event that was low cost, that was family oriented, that we got great attendance to. And the cost could be fairly low on something like that. So that was another one that we did in the beginning. And like I said, as the years go by, you just scale and do bigger things and bigger events and bigger giveaways. But in the beginning, you can start off smaller.
Or partner up with somebody else and just have body heat from multiple agents that are all wanting to do something together. I mean, we did that when we were at EXP. It was like, hey, we're gonna have a big chili feed and bingo, and we're gonna do it at security first. So it was free. And everybody that wanted to participate agent wise, they brought a thing of chili and some kind of giveaway. David and I fronted the bill for the big ticket items and stuff, and we spent a couple $1,000, but with revenue share, we were making money off of the agents as well. So we didn't mind doing that, but we had a great turnout for that. I had somebody ask me at a Chiefs game the other day, they're like, are you going to do bingo again this year? And we didn't schedule it. And he's like, I'm happy to donate, you know, this and this from my business. And it was what it was. So Crystal says, I got a Santa Claus, had it at the brokerage, title sponsored donuts. It was really cheap. Yes.
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
We did Christmas pictures last year. Andrew Montano had that picture place on the corner of Douglas and Seneca. And so I paid for a couple hours worth of studio time at his place. I paid somebody to come and take pictures, and we just bought thumb drives, and they got a thumb drive with half a dozen different pictures that they could use on their Christmas photos or Christmas cards or whatever that they sent out. I like stuff like that because it's stuff that people will look at that picture and remember that it was at an event that we did. You know, you can buy somebody a bottle of wine, and as soon as they drink it, they forget that you bought them a bottle of wine.
Mhm.
So I like the stuff that's a memory hook.
Yep.
So
Oh.
anybody else have any other questions for Bobbie? We're about done with our time.
I don't think so. Lord.
Bobbie's a wealth of information.
Yes.
Sometimes.
No,
On some things.
no, I'm not buying that. All right. Well, if anybody has any
Okay.
questions, she's on our, if you're with our company, she's on our real page too. So reach out and ask some questions, and she's good at responding to those too. So
Yep.
we're all happy to help. That's what we're in this for.
Thanks, guys, very much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Bobbie. I appreciate your time.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.